9 minutes after 7 o'clock, over to the LegacyRetirementGroup.com phone line. We say good morning to Ohio Congressman Mike Carey, Ohio's 15th District Congressman. Good morning. We are in the midst of a government shutdown about 7 hours ago. And I got to tell you, Congressman, you did your job. We're kind of pointing fingers at the Senate now, about 5 votes short. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, first, and you said it, Mike, I mean, the House was able to get the job done. This was a clean CR. This is something that, look, we did this 13 times during the Biden administration. Many of the members that voted against it, both on the House side and as we saw on the Senate side, and many of the provisions are the same CR, decided to vote against this last night, and it's unfortunate. I think there was movement. You saw 2 other Democrats, one Democrat from Nevada, one independent out of Maine that decided to join with the Republicans to have a clean CR. And let me just point this out because I do think it's important as people are driving in. And let me explain this. Republicans do have a majority in the Senate. But when you're passing a CR, you have to have 60 votes. So you just think about your high school government class. You have to have 60 votes. And you can get every Republican in the Senate, but you have to have the Democrats with you on this bill in order to get it to pass. Now, why is this important? Many of these same people have said we need to have clean CRs. We have to have clean CRs. We've got to keep the government open, all of which I believe. You and I have talked about this. We've talked about our armed service members missing paychecks and federal employees. But to people that are driving over to, John Glenn today, think about our TSA agents, our air traffic controllers could all be hindered in their duties to keep the sky safe if we don't keep the government open. And I think everybody who's watching the weather, we've got 2 big, strong storms that are coming into the Atlantic right now that are poised to become hurricanes. This could affect the National Weather Service. It could affect FEMA. I mean, not to mention, obviously, national parks closing and workers being, hurt by this. But the Head Start programs having funding delays, rural health care funding delayed. And this is all predicated on the fact that the Democrats want to add $1.5 trillion of government spending on a 4-week spending bill. Now, there are many provisions that the Democrats can work with us as we go through the appropriations process later in the year, but this is not the place. This is a clean CR. It just keeps the government open. It's very important that we get this done. We saw what happened last night. As I mentioned, we had some movement within the Democrats of joining with us to keep the government open for the American public. But there's probably likely going to be another vote today, I think sometime around 11. There'll be a break for Rosh Hashanah. Likely that the Senate would come back on Friday. So we can get this done. We just have to be able to work together like Republicans and Democrats did 13 times under the Biden administration.
And that's an important part there, Mike, and I want to draw some attention to that because there's nothing new here on the GOP side. It's not like Republicans are adding a bunch of stuff to this.
Absolutely,
so
you're right.
The point, these are the same Biden-era spending levels Democrats have voted for, as you pointed out, 13 times.
13 times.
So why all of a sudden now, Mike, do they not want to vote on this?
Well, I mean, listen, the bottom line is that the last 13 times they had a different president. And now they're trying. And listen, the Republicans, we did our job, as you mentioned. We passed the clean CR. We could have, because we have a majority in the House. We could have easily loaded it up with a lot of Republican provisions and said, "Hey, Senate, you take this up." But what we were looking at is, listen, that's a different debate for a different time. The key is to keep, our air traffic controllers, our TSA agents, our federal employees, our armed service folks, our parks open, our rural health care funding. Keep it all open. The same thing that the Democrats said 13 times over the last few years. So, again, I do want to let your listeners know that we are going to remain open in our office because there could be issues with Social Security and VA. Again, hopefully we can get this open the next few days. But if anybody has any issues, and please, if you're driving, don't write this down. Just go to www.carey.house.gov. But please call into our office. If it's a case, you have concerns, call into 614-927-6902. or you can call our D.C. office, which is 202-225-2015. Now, I would say if this is something that has to do with Social Security or the VA, call the Columbus office because that's where a majority of our caseworkers are.
All right, Mike Carey, Ohio's 15th District, joining us, 610 WTVN. Appreciate that information, Michael. And again, I want to point, if you want to look, you want to point finger, this is really a political gamble, I think, that the Democrats are taking here because and one of the issues, too, is extending the benefits on Obamacare that were enhanced during COVID. Those are set to expire at the end of the year. They don't want them to expire at the end of the year. So it's to me, and you won't say this, I'll say this. This is a little bit of a temper tantrum from the Dems. This is it seems performative to me.
Well, look, Mike, and I think your point is well taken. I mean, these are set to expire at the end of the year. So let's keep the government open. We've got to get the appropriations process done. These are all things that we know we have to do, and we can do those in the month of October and November and December. If this is a debate that the Democrats want to have, fine, let's have the debate. But let's not hold the American public hostage by shutting down the government.
Right.
The same thing that they had said, again, 13 times over the last few years.
What changed? Yeah, what changed? And
just the president.
I mean, that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. So you need 5. They need 5 in the Senate to come over and see the light of day and come to their senses. Do you think that can happen? I mean, do we know? Can we target 5 people that we can maybe get into their ear and say, hey, let's get this done. We'll make it worth your while. We'll get you a deal down the line. How does this happen moving forward?
Well, Mike, I'll tell you, I have a tough enough time reading my House members. I can only begin to guess what Thune is trying to do. But listen, I thought last night with the movement from, the senator from Maine, the senator from Nevada, seeing that there was movement, we obviously knew the senator from Pennsylvania was going to be with us. But over the next few hours, I think you may see some movement. And again, if Thune brings them back, and likely he will on Friday, there's the possibility for a vote on cloture and another vote. And so, my hope is that this is a very temporary thing. The House is set to be back in session on Monday, but again, we can't really do anything till we know definitively what the Senate is going to be doing. And again, my hope is that the leader is able to get enough votes out of the Democrats to get this through. Because I think what you have to understand, again, Schumer has always said clean CRs are the way to go. That's the way to go. But right now, Schumer is looking over his left shoulder because there are so many people that are coming after him, AOC being one of them.
Yeah.
And I think what he's concerned about the future of his leadership within the Democratic Party. But I also think you have to look at when he made the deal, just a few months ago. Again, this is just a continuation on those Biden-era spending. And he made the deal. There were a lot of people that were unhappy because they didn't think that he put up enough fight. But again, you're not fighting with your caucus. You're fighting for the American public. And that is why we have to pass this clean CR, get the government open so we don't have problems moving forward.
Congressman, I want your thoughts here before I let you fly. The Pete Hegseth speech yesterday to top military leaders. We have a new face of the U.S. military. He wants to return the, quote, warrior ethos with an emphasis on strength, discipline, and aggression, peace through strength, eliminating DEI and the woke culture in the U.S. military. I don't have any problems with this. Do you?
No, I really don't. And as somebody that served, I know that some of the standards in terms of the physical fitness standards have been lessened. But I think the most important thing is showing that we're going to be on the offensive, and that is something that's very important because I think if you really looked at the complete speech, because I think a lot of the media has just cherry picked certain things that he said throughout his speech, but I think at the end of the day he just really was focused on the fact that we have enemies that don't really care about our political policies. They want to make sure that that they want to know, is the United States ready to go into battle if they are to challenge us? Because they are against us. And I think if you really look at the totality of his speech, that's what he focused on. But again, I think, a lot of mainstream media is just, cherry-picking some of the things they said. Overall, I thought it was a very clear direction of where he wants to take the military. And I think it was a message that needed to be said. And I think in the end, I think we're going to have a better military force because of that.
I think you're exactly right. And I don't tell you as often as I should, Mike, thank you for your service, sir. We appreciate it very much.
Honor to serve.
And we thank you for joining us every other Wednesday here on WTVN. Have a great week. Hopefully next time we talk, we're talking about a government that's back up and running again.
Boy, I hope so.
All right. Congressman Mike Carey, Ohio's 15th District on 610 WTVN.